Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. And speaking of the Twitch, overwhelmed by the love and support we've seen from our All Out live reaction and then our recap show, which we're just starting now, but we had a pre-show where we blasted through our latest sub goal of 1,500 subs. We are now obligated to do a 24-hour stream again, man. It's been a year since we've done that.
Almost exactly.
So we'll make an announcement on that when we, wrap our heads around what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But just honestly, like, besides that stuff, hanging out with people while you're watching wrestling makes wrestling better.
Yeah.
And for big moments like tonight, which I think
tonight, basically
you and I can't. Yeah, the big moment of tonight. I think it's not hyperbole to say that All Out 2021 is a moment in wrestling that will be looked back upon decades from now as a major, major turning point for professional wrestling. The debut of Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, all in AEW. Was just a masterfully executed show and debuts. It just feels like a massive, and of course the in-ring on top of that, the in-ring return of CM Punk. It feels like a big, big moment that we're living in right now, and that I don't feel like that's an exaggeration.
No, I don't either. This has been something that's been building with AEW ever since they were, essentially started, I guess in theory with All In, but definitely in practice with the first Double or Nothing. But then seemingly over the last 6-8 months, especially, they've really gotten a ton of momentum, gotten a lot of good buzz. And then Punk coming back, that was huge. And then they managed to sustain that momentum and then build upon it over the course of 4 hours. He has his first match in 7 years against Darby Allin. And then we see Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson all make their AEW debuts. Also Minoru Suzuki.
Yes.
That forbidden door is wide open.
It is massively, massively open. Man, I mean, yeah, it just feels, you can tell just by looking at social media, by, in our own chat here. It's really something else. It's really something else. And everything that happened tonight is a talking point. So I feel like we'll probably just, that being said, we'll probably just hop right into it because.
Well, I think one thing that maybe is worth expanding on a little bit is this show being one of those seminal events in wrestling history, because it does feel like a pivot point. I was going to say that AEW's built up this momentum, and then now with Punk coming in, seemingly, at least outward facing, it's a bit of a catalyst, because now you got him, you got Cole, you got Daniel Bryan, and now all that good buzz momentum they had going, now it feels like a movement, if you will.
It does.
It feels like they have the wind behind their back, behind their sails. And it's not a situation where it's like, well, they're going to catch up to Raw's ratings or WWE's ratings. It's not really about that, I don't think, at this juncture, Even the demo numbers, I don't think it's about that. I think it's about generating excitement in pro wrestling to bring people back into it. How many times do we see here in chat during the stream, people are saying, oh, this is my first time watching AEW. This is the first pay-per-view I've ordered in, 10, 12, 15, 19 years. If this is a situation where they can bring people back to the sport of professional wrestling, people who either are just new to AEW or are a lapsed fan, that is pretty massive. That's something that WWE has been struggling to do for years.
Yeah.
Even with bringing back all the nostalgia acts.
Yeah.
So, maybe I doubt Vince is going to learn anything.
Yeah.
But maybe the moral to be learned here is that it's not so much nostalgia. I know a lot of people that signed with AEW, like Punk and Punk and Daniel Bryan, you can kind of capitalize the nostalgia aspect of it. But I think at the heart of AEW is that they're telling interesting stories.
Yeah.
and they're telling stories that make sense and are logical and move and develop. You don't have endless rematches every week. So I mean, again, I don't expect Vince to learn anything because I doubt he really gives a shit what's going on AEW.
I don't think
he
he
seems to have his mind set on what he wants his company to be now, and whether that helps its fortunes or not remains to be seen. But you can't deny over here that AEW has a ton of momentum behind it.
No,
it feels like they're really just moving forward with it.
And here's the thing, I when we talk about competition, it seemed like back during the Monday Night War, it really felt like, for whatever reason, I mean, there's room for both things. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's not like AEW is going to, I mean, if their ratings keep on going up and keep on going up, if they start rivaling WWE's, then guess what? NBC Universal is going to be sitting on a Monday Night Raw show that has pretty good ratings, and Warner is going to be sitting on a show with pretty good ratings, and they'll both get a bunch of money for their TV deals, and they'll just both coexist. And I think that there's room for all that. There's room for all sorts of TV franchises and all sorts of movie franchises. Why wouldn't there be room for two professional wrestling companies? And so the idea that, oh, WWE is going to go out of business, or, oh, their stock's going to tank, that doesn't happen because they're a billion-dollar company. They're making billions of dollars, and AEW is building their IP catalog and their, TV rights value, so that they're trying to eke out their space. So it's like WWE's basically said, we're not going to try to compete with AEW for the talent, because evidently all these indie workers that are coming up, the AEW can have them, and we'll see how that works out for you. Meanwhile, and so that means people who want to get into pro wrestling are going to have to make a decision. Do I go the indie route? Do I do that? Because the door seems to be closed to WWE at that point.
Yeah.
They just signed Gable Steveson. That's what they're going after. They're going after raw athletes to bring them in, mold them to become WWE players. And they've had success with that in the past.
They have.
And so is it going to be the kind of thing that we want to watch, that we're going to enjoy watching? I hope so. I definitely hope so. I hope that they still have the best women's roster on the planet. But tonight's about celebrating AEW. And they did a killer job appealing to those of us who love the kind of stuff that we saw a couple years ago in NXT, that we've seen in New Japan. They're putting it all together. They're getting those names that, like, you and I really just sort of relate to and want to see more of for a variety of reasons, Well,
it's not just see more of, because we saw plenty of Adam Cole in NXT. And I know I would imagine NXT is a bit looser in terms of the micromanagement that plagues main roster. I would suspect that's the case. I don't have evidence, but I would just suspect that. It seems like a more collaborative environment. Now I feel like we're actually going to get Adam Cole, still. I feel like we're going to get Adam Cole, know?
Yeah.
Like what his concept of the Adam Cole character truly is.
Yeah.
And it's the thing is it shouldn't seem difficult. You put wrestlers in positions to do their jobs to the utmost of their ability. And more often than not, I mean, at times at Dynamite, things are a little clunky because you can tell, hey, talent here was given liberty to kind of hit their bullet point however they see fit in the segment. Sometimes it works out wonderfully, sometimes it doesn't. You have to take the good with the bad in that respect. But when you're loading your roster with incredible talent, people who are immensely talented, I would take the odds that more often than not, put in that situation, they're going to deliver.
Yeah.
And it's going to feel more genuine. It's going to feel more spontaneous. And if they're invested on a creative level, I think that's all better for creative across the board, as opposed to being, dictated. You got to do this, you got to do that. Because sometimes, as we see on the main roster, people are doing things that seem counterintuitive to who we understand their character to be.
Yeah.
Things don't make sense.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's the kind of, that's the kind of wrestler that that's always appealed. That's why CM Punk appealed to me, back, during the, when he was feuding with John Cena. I was always a Punk guy because like, man, this guy, he's about exploring character and telling stories. And John Cena was he's a hell of a wrestler. He still is. Hell of a promo. But like, I was like, he kind of come off like a robot. Like, I don't see it. Like, I don't care about that. I like guys who are creative and girls who are creative.
The most impressive CM Punk story in my mind is when he didn't have anything for him, so he went home and wrote 14 weeks of television.
Yeah. That's a great story. Yeah.
And I feel like at AEW, everybody. No, I know Tony Khan books the show and he has final say. All creative matters, but I feel like in AEW, everybody has the opportunity, if they want to do that.
Yeah.
And it feels like in AEW, if you have ideas, you could talk to Tony Khan about it. He seems like a far more approachable boss, booker, GM, whatever, than Vince is, where you have to wait for weeks out in front of his office to hope to get 15 minutes with him.
I see a lot of. I'm curious what the source is on this. Did you hear this? Like the fact that I'm seeing people talk about Adam Cole walking because WWE said no to the Twitch thing. Ultimately, it came down to the Twitch thing.
Oh, really?
Could you imagine? I have no idea. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow on News Brief because there'll probably be all sorts of stories about it. But could you imagine for a second if that's the situation? How short-sighted and stupid is that?
We said that at the time.
Yeah, we did.
When they pulled that. Yeah. They were like, there's a new generation of wrestlers who, A, just enjoy doing that. B, it's good branding for your wrestlers to do that. Especially a company like WWE that has a problem reaching the 18 to 49 demo.
Yeah.
Have your wrestlers out there at Twitch on platforms that are enjoyed by, a wide variety of people.
And on top of that, it's bizarre because
it blew my mind.
If you go to his Twitch channel, he doesn't even talk about wrestling. You get like muted or banned or whatever if you try to ask him wrestling questions. He refers to himself as Chugs, and he doesn't talk about wrestling. He just wants to play video games, and he wants to. Yeah. I don't know, man. We'll get more info, I'm sure, on that. But because I know he said on his Twitch stream, "Hey, this isn't going anywhere." But you never know. I mean, I've always said if you have the leverage, but the bottom line is if a company values something so much that they're not willing to bend, then they're not going to bend. Yep. Yep. My goodness, just a crazy, absolutely nuts night. I marked out. Sorry, it's funny because man, I gave it a lot of thought. I gave it a lot of thought about I know you said about the CM Punk thing because he was one of my favorite wrestlers. It was because we knew he was going to be there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, maybe the thing about Adam Cole, but some of it also is just I'm just so looking forward to the dream. Adam Cole really left an impression on me over the past couple of years in NXT. Mm-hmm. He really did. The matches he was in, it was just crazy, awesome match after awesome match.
But here's the thing, like I mentioned earlier, I kind of felt like we were getting 90%, 85, 90% of what he could do still.
Yeah.
I feel like there's still more there to tap into.
Yeah.
I've always kind of felt that way. He's put, he had incredible promos in NXT, incredible matches, but I feel like there's a little bit that's left unexplored.
Because almost everything in NXT, save for maybe the Ciampa Gargano stuff, everything there is always just a little bit compromised by, what's main roster going to do with them? Or when are they going to leave? Or what's the situation there? There's always that impending doom. I feel like in AEW, there's not that impending doom because they're just there and they're doing everything they can to promote their brand.
Yeah.
They're going to do everything they can to inspire you to enjoy wrestling, and it doesn't include having people lose in their hometown to get that heat. There's not that weird shit.
No,
there's not weird championship contender matches over and over again that don't make a lick of sense.
Yeah.
It's just
endless rematches for seemingly no reason.
It's just an enjoyment of the sport of professional wrestling. And it's not supposed to be 3 hours that bogs you down. It's supposed to get you hyped up and give you what you want. So you're going to want more of it.
Exactly.
So, no, Trilly here in chat says even Ciampa Gargano was ruined when they did that weird half call-up with everyone. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
That's exactly right. So, Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot more stuff we'll talk. I know we're sort of scattershot right now just because it's been a crazy night. It's still
a lot to process. I'll be honest with you.
It is.
You know, we could.
This is the first time. Sorry, let me cut you off real quick. This is the first time in us doing this since 2014 that I've felt this way about a singular show.
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a lot to process, you know? I feel like there is, just simply because it's hard to kind of zoom ahead in a number of years. You know, sitting here, it feels like a very important moment. It feels like a seminal show in modern history of wrestling. And I think your brain wants to kind of shoot ahead and think, okay, where is this going to go? Mm-hmm. You know, whether it be just fantasy booking, dream match scenarios, or just kind of thinking, okay, in terms of business, what is this going to be for the wrestling industry as a whole? And, you know, part of me wants to just kind of exist in the now and soak it in and enjoy it. But it's hard not to just think, okay, what is this going to lead to? What is this going to lead to? What is this going to lead to? You
Possibilities are crazy.
I know. So it's trying to, I guess, let's get into the recap, and then we can sleep on you know, thinking about the future.
Before we hop into it, if you're watching us on YouTube, do us a huge favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to this in the audio realm, do us a huge favor, leave us a rating, review, or a comment. I want to give a quick shout out also to our amazing group of mods here at Going In Raw. Ricky, Maggie, Enforcer, obviously, you know, the third man, Dope, Bex, J Mart. I know I'm going to miss some. B-Man, Patrick Sparks.
Alex C.
Lou. Rob.
Yeah.
Wayne. Kirsten. Worm. Yeah. I know I've probably missed some, and I feel like I hate that's
Gareth.
Kaufman, the intern, of course.
Kaufman, Gareth, Wayne.
Yeah. You guys are the absolute best.
Did you say Bex?
I said Bex. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's hop into this. The kickoff show. What do they call it? The buy-in. Was it the buy-in this time? Was it the buy-in this time? Okay.
It's always the buy-in.
Featured Team Hardy Family Office versus Team Best Friends Jurassic Express.
Yes.
In 10-man action, probably 10.
Is that what it was? Yeah, something like that.
2 tag teams and 2 singles guys.
Well, if it's 2 tag teams and 2 singles, that'd be 6-on-6. It'd be 12-man.
2 tag. Well, I meant 2 singles. You're right. I meant So it's 4 tag teams and 2 singles is what I was getting at.
Gotcha. 5-on-5, yeah.
Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Orange Cassidy, 2 other guys.
We expected this to be a fast-paced bout to get the crowd into the show with the faces going over, and that's exactly what we got.
Hey.
It was a lot of fun.
By the way, did we run the table today? Besides the women's battle royal?
Yeah, we both ran the table. Yeah, we did. This was a pretty predictable show, and yet didn't mitigate the enjoyment whatsoever.
Right?
I know.
Right? It was insanely predictable, but it was amazing. It was amazing. Even Paul Wight, QT Marshall, was 5 stars.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it didn't overstay its welcome, at least.
Did I say 5? I meant 1. Sorry.
In every, like, for example, I'll just throw this out there and we'll get back to the recap. For example, Eddie Kingston versus Miro. Oh, man. We all knew it was a shoo-in that Miro's going to win.
Yeah, of course.
But going into it, you know, Eddie's like, I know your weakness, and I'm going to exploit it. And he did.
Yeah.
And it was enough to put doubt in your mind. And if it wasn't for that turnbuckle cover coming off, who knows what would happen.
If it wasn't for that son of a bitch, Bryce. Oh,
Remsburg.
that ref. I'm not even giving him the respect of saying his last name. But it sucked me into the story, you know? And I know some people are going to crow about that. Oh, it's a wonky. Look, the best show of every year is Triple Mania. All right? AAA is they have literally a ref who actively works against certain people that he has beef with. And that's my favorite shit. If this is not your shit, that's fine. It's my shit, though.
I mean, if every match had a perfectly clean finish, there's ways to advance stories there. I understand. You gotta make, but like I appreciate that AEW gives you a little bit of everything, you know,
and
they mix things up.
As Griff mentioned in our chat, this is the second time that Bryce has screwed Eddie. There's a story building there, you know. And I love that kind of stuff, man.
Sort of like the story that Aubrey Edwards and Jericho have had. When Jericho was a heel, she would always get in his face.
Yeah.
And it seemed like today she missed the foot on the rope. She was going to cost him his career.
Yeah.
It didn't work. You know, the other ref came out and caught it, but it's like all those little details. It adds dimension and depth to the story, and I really appreciate that. Anyways, Hardy Family Office.
Somebody brought up. I'm sorry. Who is this in chat? Said, Stoinks Group says it's a wonky finish because Eddie will win the belt at the Arthur Ashe show. Could you imagine if Eddie won the title there? Holy! I didn't even think about that. That New York crowd. Oh my gosh! Wow.
That'd be something else.
This is a lot of fun. It was basically a PWG match, this Hardy Family Office. There is like the ridiculous stuff. Everybody has each other on a hold. Luchasaurus hits one guy in the middle, and they all go falling down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like dominoes.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff going on. Jungle Boy ends up getting the win for his team, tapping out Jack Evans?
And Helico.
And Helico, the other guy. Okay.
So then Hardy Family Office starts beating up Orange Cassidy. The Butcher returned.
Yeah, the Butcher.
That was cool to see him back. He lays out Orange. They're about to start cutting Orange Cassidy's hair. Then Jurassic Express, who I thought was still ringside, comes sliding back into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
As do Varsity Blondes. 10, John Silver is out there. Dante Martin as well. They all chase off Hardy Family Office.
Yeah, yeah. After that, during the we even mentioned this, during the kickoff, there was during the buy-in, Dan Lambert and his dudes are up there in the suite, and he talks some trash. He introduces the Men of the Year, and basically they say, we got to step outside our comfort zone and into the danger zone, and Lambert's like, yeah, you're going to find out who I'm going to set you up against. We've got these guys over here, and then who is it that had the super...
Necessary is Jose Masvidal.
There you go, that guy.
Because Lambert asked him if this was all necessary, and Masvidal says it's super necessary.
Yeah, that's his thing. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I like Dan Lambert's a good promo. I'm interested to see where they go with this. You know what? I wouldn't mind if Lambert and his guys went to Cody Island after Malachi Black was done with them. Malachi moves away from Cody Island, and they end up the new heavies of Cody Island. Have them take on, because I don't care about Cody Island. And until they show me something else, I kind of don't care about these guys. I like Dan Lambert. I like Ethan Page. I like Scorpio Sky.
Yeah.
They haven't really done anything. I don't believe them as heels, though. They just seem like nice guys.
Yeah, outside of the ring, they seem like nice guys. Yeah, they do. But maybe, they must think highly of them because to put them with Lambert.
Yeah, Lambert's great. Oh, I think I froze. Hold on a second. Okay.
Oh, you're okay on my end.
We're
You're
good.
fine on my end.
We're good.
Main card kicked off with TNT title bout. Eddie Kingston challenging Miro. Eddie said, coming in, I'm going after your neck. He went after his neck.
Yeah, hit
and
three
Miro did
Saitos, yeah.
Hell of a job selling it. Like the first time Eddie hits an exploder, Miro rolls out of the ring and acts like he's like basically unconscious for 10 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Until Eddie comes back up, and then he gets back up and he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He did a hell of a job really selling. All right, this whole neck thing could be an issue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, at one point, Eddie hits him with a Saito. Miro gets up, kind of no sells it, so Eddie hits him another one, and then he sells that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the end, though, so the end saw Miro. He's in the corner, hit a bunch of forearms on Eddie. Hits a German suplex. In the process, getting German suplex, Eddie pulls the turnbuckle cover off the top turnbuckle.
Right.
So Miro hits a Machka kick, looks for a game over, sinks it in. Eddie grabs a bottom rope, and Miro's frustrated because it's the first time Eddie's been in the game over and has it tapped out.
Yeah.
And so he picks up the turnbuckle cover. He's kind of frustrated, tosses it aside. So the ref grabs it and goes to put it back on. While he's doing that, Eddie hits the back fist, a DDT, which they've been kind of set up for a couple weeks that Miro is kind of susceptible to. And because the ref is fixing the turnbuckle, he's late to make the cover. By the time he comes over there, Miro's had enough time to come to. He counts the pinfall. Miro kicks out. So Eddie's looking for a pile driver. Miro blocks that. Eddie hits some knees, tries to send Miro to the exposed turnbuckle. Ref steps in front of him, so he can't send Miro in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows Miro to hit a low blow. Hitting what?
D's nuts. He redeemed D's nuts.
Yeah, he did. And hits a pair of Machka kicks to get the win.
Yeah. Boy.
Really fun match.
Yeah, it's really fun. I love the story. I love the Bryce stuff. I was into it, man. Like the execution of it really sucked me into the story.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we had Mox versus Kojima. New, by the way, spoiler alert on GCW stuff. Hopefully you've seen it. Or you've heard about it. New GCW champion, Jon Moxley, came down with a GCW hoodie. He was taking on Kojima, of course. I mean, this is really good stuff. Kojima, it's insane that he can still go like this at 50.
At 50, I know.
50.
50.
Oh, he's actually 50.
50.
Okay.
I think he's 50 on the dot. I think someone in chat said he was 50.
Okay. Yeah, this is just really super physical stuff. I swear it was 53. Wasn't somebody else?
No, he's 50. 50 exactly.
Okay, there you go.
He'll turn 51 in September in 9 days.
Oh, 9 days. 9 days from tonight. 9 days. Sorry. Anyways, this is fun stuff.
It was good.
What did Mox get the win with? I think I turned away when he got the win, though.
He tried for paradigm shift like twice before, then he reversed a lariat to a paradigm shift, then hits another one for the win.
Well, yeah, let's be honest though, man. This match right here was set up for what happened after the match.
For some Kaze Ninare, man. Yeah. Minoru Suzuki is an AEW. Tron shows up, and I'm marking out. I know whose Tron that is.
Oh, man.
Starts hearing Kaze Ninare. He walks down the ring after he leads the audience to sing along with the chorus. He's milking
it with them. Yeah.
He's like, everybody, listen, we're going to sing. So he's staring down with Mox. He takes his jacket off. He throws a forearm. They start trading elbows. And then Minoru hits a boot. Mox responds with a lariat. No one's dropping yet. Mm-hmm. Mox goes for another lariat. Suzuki ducks that, sinks in a sleeper. Gotch style pile driver. They're getting a match Wednesday on Dynamite.
This Wednesday on Dynamite. It's not like, is this going to happen at Arthur Ashe? Is it going to happen? This Wednesday on Dynamite. This Wednesday. Less than 9 days. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I know. It's crazy. 3 days.
Crazy.
3 days from today. Isn't it? 3 days?
3 days.
Yeah.
3 days from tonight. 3 days.
It's crazy. And it's like Mox's homecoming is in Cincinnati. It's huge.
Oh, my. Yeah. That's what they do.
Give these two guys 20 minutes. And here's the thing. This is one of those matches where you don't need weeks of build.
No.
This is a match that sells itself because these two guys are going to beat the hell out of each other.
This is something we've wanted to see for ever since Mox escaped the prison.
Well, they've had a match but they've had a match in New Japan, right?
They had a match in New Japan, but it's still man, this is going to be good. In Cincinnati?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, after that, we had Britt Baker versus Kris Statlander for the women's title. This was another just killer match. There was a scary moment with a superplex, but Britt was okay. Probably one of the coolest moments of this match anyways was at one point Statlander heads up on the outside, and she is in danger of not beating the 10 count. And Orange Cassidy, her best friend, gets fired up. Gets pumped up and starts yelling, not yelling at her, but encouraging her in a very passionate way,
animated
way, which obviously you don't see a lot from him. But he was like, "Come on, get this, you can do it, you can do it." It was just a really cool moment. And we heard anecdotally somebody in our chat or on Twitter, I think it was our chat, said the AMC movie theater he was in blew up over that moment. Which, by the way, shout out to I love doing this. This is great. There's a part of me that's jealous that I wasn't there tonight because that would have been just a magnum. You remember what Allin was like and what Double or Nothing was like. It was all great.
It's great.
It's great being there for that. It's really great being there in person. But to do it in an AMC movie theater, that wrestling is more fun with friends and fans. With other wrestling fans.
Yep. One other thing to mention here in this match is that Britt Baker hit a Pittsburgh sunrise, man, and she did the pointing stuff. She hit a Panama sunrise. They call it a Pittsburgh sunrise. Yep. A little foreshadowing there, but you never because we figured, it's possible. It's possible Cole's going to be there. Didn't think that it was a certainty at all. Yeah. So after that gets her 2 count. She follows with a stomp. Statlander kicks out again. Britt locks on lockjaw. Statlander passes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hell of a match. Really good. After that, we got an Andrade interview. He's asked if he's responsible for Pac's travel troubles. He says no. He asked Chavo, and Chavo's like, I don't even have American Airlines phone number. Even if I did, I didn't do it. So, of course, he canceled Pac's flight. He says Pac isn't there because he's scared. And says the Lucha Brothers don't take Andrade up on his offer, then that's just on them. And then Andrade hypes up his match against Pac Friday on Rampage.
Banger. Give him the entire hour.
That'd be fantastic.
Right.
I'd be all about that. Speaking of awesome matches, this next match of the year contender, Lucha Brothers versus Young Bucks for the tag titles in a steel cage.
Man, I'll have to go back and watch this again. This is absolutely nuts. What was nuts also was the Lucha Brothers entrance and a full-on, I don't know who it was, a couple of rappers doing their stuff. but they had some like crazy, awesome headgear stuff, and they just looked like their gear, even their ring gear was just off the hook.
Amazing.
It was absolutely great. Nick Jackson sporting a full on Hogan blonde stash and black beard. Yep. This match is cage match for the tag titles. Absolutely nuts. I mean,
let's fast forward to the shoe. You want to talk about the shoe?
So Cutler's on the outside vlogging.
Yeah.
And the Young Bucks have the Lucha Brothers down. Cutler has a bag. Throws the bag. He's like, let me see if I can do this. He throws the bag over. Matt goes right to Matt Jackson. He botches the catch, but it was a perfect throw. So he sits down. He looks at the camera. Says, "I bet you want to know what's in here." Opens it up and it's Travis Scott Jordan 1.
Yeah.
But you look at look at the bottom of it, and it's got a bunch of thumbtacks sticking out of it. Right, just covered the whole sole. It's covered. So he loads one up for Phoenix. Penta flies in, willing to take the kick. So he does. He eats the kick, and then they go to the corner and they start ramming Penta's head.
Even before all that, though, Penta had already had his mask ripped off. He was bleeding some. By the time they were done with him, his entire face was just a bleeding red on my monitor. Like, it was all pixely and stuff because it was, and then they go to close up, but it was just red. It was like flare red. Yeah.
Nuts.
He bled a ton. So the Young Bucks were using that shoe for a spell. Eventually, though, Phoenix gets his hands on it. There's this great bit. So Lucha Brothers set up for their finish, and then Nick pushes Phoenix into the cage. But Phoenix catches onto the cage, and he starts climbing. Nick follows. Well, then Penta and Matt pull them down, and then hit stereo package pile drivers on each other's partners on the apron. And so they start getting into a hockey fight. Wow, I wrote too many names here. So eventually that leads to Penta hitting a Canadian Destroyer on Matt Jackson off the top rope.
Avalanche Destroyer, nuts.
That was crazy.
Nuts.
So Nick is helping Matt up. They're all trading chops, and they're essentially going around the horn with super kicks.
Yeah.
And they did like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. It was great. Finally, though, Penta and Matt do a double clothesline spot. Lucha Brothers hit their finish on Nick. Matt breaks up the pin. And then Penta's like, "Hey, Phoenix, climb the top of the cage."
We're all freaking out at this point.
Climbs the top of the cage. So then Nick super kicks Penta to break up because he's got Matt in package pile driver position. And then he starts climbing up. And so he's about to, he's almost up. And then Phoenix, like he does on the top rope, kind of walks on the top of the cage and kicks Nick off. Hits the splash on the Young Bucks. And then the Lucha Brothers hit the assisted package pile driver to get the win.
Man.
Fantastic stuff. Just absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. And the crowd was just going nuts. And it's like, man, I don't know what you do. I mean, after this, they had the Casino Battle Royal, which is great because Battle Royals are number one, really fun. But they build and build and build. And it was good. But, man, the crowd was a crazy good crowd tonight. Yeah, just absolutely. And you're 100% right. Match of the year candidate, definitely one to consider. I'll have to go back and rewatch it because, god dang, what a great match. After that, we had the Women's Casino Battle Royal. I did not write a whole lot down besides Ruby being the Joker. So I don't know if you want to get too deep into the eliminations.
I mean, I have who was in each group and who eliminated who. But
I mean, in terms of stories being told in the Battle Royal, it's sort of the familiar stuff like, Ty Conti, Bunny, Anna Jay, and Penelope Ford were all going at it at various times.
Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose would go, back and forth on occasion.
Jade Cargill got eliminated, I think, by Nyla Rose, correct?
Yeah.
So that was
Jade,
kind of
I think,
big
eliminated
deal.
three or four people. Yeah.
Ruby had
which would be good because hopefully that sets up a real feud for Jade that'll get her on Dynamite on a regular basis.
Yeah, you would hope so. Ruby has the Rancid Ruby Soho song, which is pretty awesome. She had a huge react. The crowd, when it was counting out, because they had a countdown to the Joker, the crowd was all chanting Ruby Soho, so they all knew. I mean, they were all, and I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like for Ruby to hear that and to come out. And it was obvious she was emotional about it.
Yep.
So the finish came down to Nyla, Ruby, and Thunder Rosa. Rosa eliminated Nyla. And then the remaining two, her and Ruby, went at it back and forth. They go to do a bunch of apron stuff. Ruby ends up hitting her finish. What does she call that?
It was a riot kick in.
Oh, okay. It's going to be something different then. Yeah. So she hit that on Thunder Rosa for the win. So she's going to get a shot against Britt Baker. But and the crowd was going crazy for that too. So be interesting to see how this shakes out, man. I feel like she's a jolt to the women's division. They've got a couple of really, now that Thunder Rosa obviously has been signed for a couple months now, I feel like they got some really good pieces in place. You got to really start pushing that on Dynamite and Rampage as a featured thing.
You really do. I mean, you got Jade, who's a star. Jade Cargill's an absolute star. Like I said, now hopefully if she's going to get into the story with Nyla, that's something to actually push on Dynamite and really start to establish her. It's going to be interesting. You're going to force the women's division.
I think you got to have her. I think that Jade needs to have a couple of feuds first with people like Ruby is an amazing wrestler, just a fantastic. And you want, because Jade does not have that many matches under her belt, and she is a little like, even tonight with some of the moves she was doing, she can be a bit one-dimensional because she's got such a great look. It's kind of all she needs. But I do feel like she's going to need some reps before they get her to the point where she'd be more featured, like a real title threat. And so that's why you have her in there with Ruby, with Thunder Rosa, people who really know how to teach, basically. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Jade.
Yeah. After that, we had MJF, who was trolling us from the very beginning. They had the countdown, so they emulated the old WWE countdown. And then rather than, like the fireworks go off and the letters turned over, it says Jericho. It said Jericho's final match. No break the walls down, of course not. But MJF comes out to his theme. Jericho next. This is a fun match.
MJF had a nice looking robe.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It's a fun match where MJF, of course, is working over Jericho's arm, setting him up for the Fujiwara armbar. Jericho hits MJF with the apron bomb, and after that, MJF was really selling back. So towards the end, Wardlow makes his way out. Hager follows him. They end up brawling back to the back. This distracts Aubrey Edwards, the ref. So MJF grabs Floyd, Jericho's bat, hits him with it, follows with the Judas effect. Aubrey comes over, counts the pinfall. Jericho gets his foot on the rope, but Aubrey doesn't see it.
Yeah.
So we think MJF wins. But no, there's another ref ringside, and he tells Aubrey, no, foot was on the rope. So the match is restarted. So as soon as they ring the bell for the restart, Jericho rolls up MJF, gets the two. That gets with two. He goes for a Judas effect. MJF ducks that. He locks on the Fujiwara armbar. Jericho eventually gets out of that into the walls of Jericho. Max, MJF is trying to get to the bottom rope. Jericho pulls him back to the middle of the ring. MJF taps.
And
it's all set up over that apron powerbomb,
Yeah, yes. It was a very simple story, but MJF sold it like $1 million. And I believe this is the first time we've seen him tap, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. So I think when he lost to Mox, it was probably a paradigm shift. I would guess.
Yeah.
I would guess. I'd double check on that. So Jericho, he gets to keep wrestling. Inner Circle come down to the ring to celebrate with him. After that, we get a Darby Allin short film where he's got himself a helicopter somehow, and he's pulling up a body bag that says "Best in the World" on it. And so the helicopter, is up in the air, and then Darby jumps out of the helicopter. We assume he landed safely because he made it to the match. But,
it was like a Reggie situation where he had like some sort of trampoline maybe, or some sort of padding, perhaps a bed mattress maybe. I don't know. The CM Punk had pants.
He did have pants.
So some people had noted that like on one of his indie runs, he wore pants. I had never seen that before.
He wore in Ring of Honor. He wore like basketball shorts. I don't remember pants.
Early in his indie days, he would wear basketball shorts too. I've seen those, but somebody in chat, and I could be completely.
Even in TNA, he wore the basketball shorts.
He wore the basketball shorts, yeah, until he got to WWE. So I don't know what. I've never seen him wear pants. But I thought they looked fine on him. Maybe razz him up a little bit, put some shiny stuff on it. translucence, perhaps.
Well, yeah,
Maybe.
Always like that.
Why do you think he wore pants? I wonder if anybody asked him in the media scrum. I know there's an Adam Cole media scrum. I was going to try to get some info on that.
Interesting. I don't know.
Self-conscious about his thighs, perhaps.
Maybe. Never know.
You never know, right?
What
would you be, trunks guy or pants guy?
I'd be a pants guy.
Yeah, I'd be a pants guy.
I have very hairy legs.
I would be a Kevin Owens type. Sleeveless shirt, basketball shorts. That's what I'd be.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
See, for me, I have hairy legs and I have skinny legs.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd wear pants.
Yeah. Story of this match is basically at first CM Punk learning how to wrestle again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of hip tosses. It's rest hold. Yeah. Early on, almost catches Darby with a GTS. Darby gets out of it and freaks out, goes to the outside. He gets a shit in, though, gets a stunner. Punk hits a GTS, but again, ring rust. Darby ends up flying out of the ring because of it, and Punk goes after him. He's like, "Oh God, damn it!"
Well, even before the GTS, though, is Punk sends Darby into the corner, and instead of Darby, just taking the bump in the corner on the turnbuckle, he like goes parallel to the ring, flings himself out of the ring, and like clips the ring post and tumbles to the floor. And from that point on, Punk's more or less working Darby's midsection. Got a lot of abdominal stretches and such. But then, yes, he does hit that GTS. Darby tumbles out to the floor. Later on, so Darby beats that 10 count. So Punk gets back in. Punk starts hitting some forearms, a running knee, basically a rainmaker. He's calling for the GTS. He picks up Darby, but Darby just collapses. So he picks him up again. Darby elbows out of the GTS. Punk rolls out of the ring, and Darby just lays into him with the suicide dive. Goes up top, hits a swanton off the top rope to the floor, which sends Punk crashing to the floor, obviously. He puts Punk in the ring, climbs to the top, looking for a coffin drop, and right as he's about to make contact with Punk, Punk just sits up.
And he laughs.
Yeah.
He laughs like, hey, I got a couple tricks left. Yeah.
Still got the veteran savvy.
Yeah.
So he's kind of soaking in that moment. Darby rolls him up, though. Punk kicks it out right into a GTS attempt. Darby catches the knee, locks on Last Supper. Punk kicks out of that.
Yeah.
It hits a leg lariat. And then Darby finds his way on Punk's shoulders like an electric chair position. And then Punk works him around into GTS. Bang, hits it to get the win. Afterwards, Sting walks down to the ring. Pretty much everybody shakes hands. They're all friends now.
So I am looking at Denise Salcedo's Twitter account because she is at the media scrum.
Oh,
so
cool.
Shout out to Denise. She's like the hardest working person in this friggin' business.
She's great.
Absolutely fantastic. So follow her on Twitter. Check out her YouTube channel. She is terrific. I'll post the her links down in the description because I'm taking from her Twitter account right now for our show. So about this, CM Punk tells Dave Meltzer that it was really the way AEW talent handled Brody Lee's passing that convinced him to go to AEW, thought it was special. And he said the Sting handshake was not something that was planned. Sting just did it. He just decided to go and do it. So, yeah. And then when we talk about Adam Cole, she's got some... Oh, and then the Ruby Soho stuff. She says that apparently today was the first day that Tony Khan has actually met Ruby Soho. Probably saw those cool vignettes. It was like, we got to get this person because she seems really cool. She said that Ruby was sad leaving WWE because she made a lot of lifelong friends, but she was okay closing that chapter. She knew instantly she wanted to go to AEW and was simply hoping there was a place for her there. She said she hopes the women on the AEW roster help bring out a new side of her. She wants to go out there and have good matches while also elevating the women's division. She says she's trying not to get emotional as she talks about the fan reception from the show today. Says it felt like home immediately from the moment they got there. That's the kind of stuff you just love to hear, you know?
So Denise just posted about the media scrum. Adam Cole says he was so excited about his debut tonight, his legs were shaking. Calls it a highlight of his life.
Yeah. He said he had an excellent 4-year experience with WWE, but he knew for a while he wanted to come to AEW and said it was a fairly easy decision to make. He said the talk with Vince went great, and they talked about several things, and he did not have a bad experience with them. He says he feels like he can talk to Tony Khan about anything and that his love for pro wrestling is contagious. Tony said all this happened very quickly, and he said His mom is the only person he's had time to speak with since tonight. Oh. So, yeah, it's youtube.com/Denise Salcedo, Salcedo. So go follow Denise. She got like the interview with Bianca Belair that blew up over there after the SummerSlam match. So yeah.
Such that it was announced that Full Gear will be November 13th.
Yeah.
So I think they pushed it a weekend. I think they initially announced it for the weekend prior. I think a Double or Nothing. And then we got our main event.
Oh man.
QT Marshall versus Paul Wight. Happened as advertised. Lasted about as long as we thought it would.
Yeah. I think maybe we just got a little too much in our heads about this one, It's like seems pretty cut and dry. QT's a bad guy. Yeah. Big Show's a good guy. This seemed like a thank you to Big Show match. I don't see him wrestling a whole lot. He moves like a guy who's put that many years on his body and is that size, and he's done all those things. He doesn't move great, but they made him a monster. He threw the other factory guys around a little bit, and then choke slam QT Marshall all in about 5 minutes, maybe.
Oh, I think less than that, probably. I'd say 3 or less.
Could be.
It moved by pretty quick. Then we got a Malachi Black promo. He's got a match against Dustin on Dynamite. He says he wants Dustin as mad as possible because the angrier he gets, the more predictable he is. And he says, in case you have calmed down, I'll remind you of all the reasons you're mad. He details all the things he's done to Nightmare family members, culminating with Cody. It says, hey, I bent a crutch around Cody so bad he hasn't come back yet.
Yeah.
So Cody's going to come back very soon.
Hopefully Malachi will just finish off the Nightmare family, and then he'll already move on, and then Cody will come back. He'll wait for Malachi to leave. That'd be ideal. Maybe. I don't want Cody to get that win back, man. Before really that, we did have a Mox promo as well, just building up his match on Dynamite, and then he punctuated it by saying, "Welcome to the jungle." It was just sort of a typical Mox promo. It was good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we had our main event for the AEW title, Christian Cage, future Hall of Famer, taking on Kenny Omega, your AEW champion.
I mean, he had 7 years. I don't know what would preclude him from.
I don't know the whole story about why he didn't get in the Hall of Fame for 7 years. I don't know if there was any reasons why he didn't want to do it. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm just saying that he was gone for 7 years and he didn't make it in. So,
or he didn't want to go in. I don't know.
I don't know. There's nothing to suggest that he didn't want to go in. Is my point. The fact is he didn't go in, so he's not a Hall of Famer. But anyways, regardless, this was a decent match. Kenny carried it. There was a couple little table spots here and there. Kenny putting a table, draping a table over Christian Cage, and
he does that,
and blasting him through it. Christian got a little big old chunk cut there in his midsection. Christian blasted Kenny with a spear to the back, and then another one to the front. That only got him 2. Callis brought out the Elite, but they were taken out pretty quickly. And then Christian hit the end prettier. My dude Kenny kicked out at half of 1, just a half. Buried it. No, it was like a 2. It was a close 2. But still, he kicked out of the unprettier. And then Kenny hits he hits a top rope one-winged angel.
Yeah.
To get the win.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Not kicking out of that way. Hey, respect to the Impact champion though, that they showed him the respect of hitting him with a top rope one-winged angel.
Yeah.
To make it a bit more difficult to go. Maybe he could have kicked out of a regular one. I don't think it could have, but it's the Impact champion.
Never got the opportunity, so.
Never know, I guess.
Exactly. So after the match, so the Good Brothers would come out earlier, and of course, Christian fended them off pretty easily because of the Good Brothers. So they're ringside still. Young Bucks, who are all beat to heck. They limp out to the ring. They get in the ring. They start beating up Christian. Jurassic Express come out to try to make the save. They get overwhelmed by the Elite. Even then, crowd starts chanting, yes, yes, yes. So Kenny grabs the mic. It says, Chicago, when are you finally going to understand? I don't care about your hometown heroes. No one is on my level. I've proven it. Doesn't matter where I go. But when it comes to the AW title, the only people who could have a chance at beating me either aren't here, are tired, or already dead.
Already dead.
The lights come down. They come back up. It's Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, man.
Huge.
Jeez.
Huge.
Freaking out.
Great.
He goes to the ring. And he's jawing at them, and they're freaking out a little bit. And then, super kicks Jungle Boy right in the dumb head. and he hugs them, and they give him the big kiss right for the camera right there. Yeah. And he gets on the mic. He said, "It's official. The Elite are the most dominant faction in this business, and there's no chance in hell anyone's going to stop us."
Well, he prefaced it by saying, "All right, it's story time with Adam Cole."
Yeah, you guys want story time with Adam Cole, baby.
I haven't heard that the whole time he's a WWE.
Because he did the Bebe thing also when he got in there. He did the Bebe to them.
Oh, he really leaned into that one,
He
too.
milked it.
Yeah, so Kenny gets back on the mic, says, "All right, that's that. Time to give the crowd a happy ending, or send them home happy." And so he's cut off.
He said happy ending. He made very sure to say happy ending.
And then he's cut off by Fly the Valkyries.
Yeah.
We all know whose theme song that is. Bryan Danielson is All Elite.
And then it was like a weird beat after that.
Yeah. And so the whole crowd's chanting yes. And so I don't think he's maybe allowed to do this.
He just did this.
So he walks down the ring like this. He kind of the way he kind of walks sideways down the ramp.
Yeah.
It's great. Crowd is eating it up. It's fantastic. So he hits the ring. He's checking on Jurassic Express. And then he starts brawling with the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers, Rusty Elite, as Kenny makes his escape. And he's kicking the heck. I forgot who it was in the corner. It was Nick. He's kicking the heck out of him in the corner. Yeah. Hits him with a huge German suplex, a knee plus.
Yeah.
The Elite flee. And we get Bryan Danielson, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy standing in the ring as the show ends.
Just
huge.
Nuts.
Huge.
Absolutely nuts.
Massive.
Man, what a night. What an absolute night. We will be back tomorrow at noon Pacific. 3
Hey, tomorrow's
Eastern.
your birthday, too.
Woo, woo, my birthday. Hey, I can't ask for a bit, man. Now that the show's basically done, I can't ask for, it's not even my birthday yet. I woke last night. I was up late, and I ran the table.
We already
had
talked
to.
about this. This is old news.
Well, that's not on the podcast. Ran the table at New Japan.
All right.
Retaining a big IWG Pete. Huge moment, right? And then not only was tonight like my favorite pay-per-view maybe of all time.
It was really good.
I retained.
Well, we tied.
AEW. Did we actually tie tonight?
Yeah, we tied.
Okay, fair enough. That goes down as because I'm keeping track of all this stuff.
It goes down as a tie, yeah.
Goes down as a tie.
Like I said earlier, I got Ultimo status. I had all 4 belts we had at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm first to do it.
You're great.
So
you're awesome.
So like when you win at fantasy football or race in GTA, I can just kind of take the rest of predictions off as far as I'm concerned.
You feel good about yourself. You let new, fresh talent, hungrier talent come up.
Sure. I'm putting over the new talent now. I've reached the top of the mountain.
Will you be Hall of Fame status? We don't know. Unknown. It might be.
It's the first. I've achieved the first.
Yeah. Right.
Now
we got the Enforcer doing this.
Yeah.
So it's a new thing. Like now it's a real competition, So anyways, your little run was great.
You're a little Mike.
No, man, you're great. Listen, you're great. So yeah, it's been a hell of the precursor to my birthday. Tomorrow's my birthday, and it's gonna be more good stuff because I get to hang out with you and talk about wrestling, dude.
Exactly.
Anyways, thanks everybody.
I'll have to ask you how to make do those pictures with you with a mustache and no hair. Put one of those up for your birthday.
There you go.
I'm gonna try to find the old Ball Steve picture I did myself.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good. It's got to be somewhere. It's probably on I don't know, one of our Instagrams. Did you find it?
Would you look at that?
Did you just name the file Bald Steve? I bet you did, didn't you?
Of course I did.
You typed in Bald Steve and it came up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Anyways. Oh, Brian is up for the media scrum now. That's cool.
Oh, cool.
Let's just see if Denise has anything. Denise, hardworking, doesn't even know that she's working for us right now. Denise, there you are. And, here we go. Bryan Danielson says it was an internal battle because he did love working in WWE, but he wanted one part of his life to be wild, hence what brought him to AEW. Oh, that's great. We'll wrap up all this stuff tomorrow on the news brief. We'll get all that.
I feel like there's going to be a lot to get through tomorrow.
I think you're probably right. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Twitch chat, stick around. We'll hang out for a little bit.
Goodbye.